So my everydayers out there are aware that I am bullish on this Oregon men's basketball team and what they can be. They were picked to finish 6th in the preseason men's basketball media poll. I think that is too low. The Big Ten is a good basketball conference, always has been. You've got strong programs like Illinois that was in the Elite Eight. Purdue was in the national championship game. Of course, they lost some key guys to the NBA, but still, they're a strong program. Oregon lost in Folly Dante and Jermaine Couisnard, and guess what? They're off to a better start than they were last season. So two things are in play. Oregon beat Texas A&M 80-70 behind a 51-point second half in which they shot 62% from the floor. The first half was maddening. It was completely maddening to watch for two reasons. Number one, Oregon could not secure a defensive rebound. And number two, they couldn't hit an open jump shot. And I was texting a buddy at halftime and throughout the course of the game, and we were venting to each other about, this is annoying, this is frustrating, like so many open looks, and they're just not going down. And then they started to fall. But what really shifted in this game, this is the third time, by the way, Oregon's faced a double-digit deficit with less than 13 minutes to go and won the game. They were down by 12 against Portland. No, they were down by more than 12 against Portland. I think they were down 12 against the Beavs. They were down 10 against Texas A&M. And they ended up winning this game by 10. They ended up being Portland by 10 because of a dominant overtime, and they beat the Beavs by 3. For the second straight game, Oregon State and now Texas A&M, Jackson Shelstad hit a big shot down the stretch. And on the initial action, Oregon was up 1, less than 30 seconds to go, and the shot clock's winding down, and Shelstad at one point drove, picked up his dribble, passed in the corner, bam, Tracy. And I said to myself, Jackson, this needs to be your team. This is your late in the shot clock, late in the game. Give the ball to number 3, let him go to work. He goes to work, hits an off-balance floater. Oregon goes up by 3, gets a stop at the other end. Brandon Angel was great, hit some free throws down the stretch. A lot of good things in this game. A lot of things to like. But I want to start big picture first. James Crepey, the Oregonian, tweeted out that in all likelihood, because Texas A&M is a top 25 team, and Oregon today, as in Tuesday, in the afternoon, plays San Diego State. I won't be able to react to that show or to that game until Friday's show. But if they win that game, it is crank up the, oh my gosh, Oregon's going to win every national championship ever. That's being hyperbolic, of course. But you get the sentiment that I'm going for here. San Diego State's really good. They just blasted Creighton, who eliminated Oregon in 2 overtimes in the NCAA tournament a season ago, and is a great program. And San Diego State, it's really good. Brian Dutcher, heck of a basketball coach. But Texas A&M, preseason top 25. Crepio of the Oregonian tweeted out that presuming Texas A&M continues to succeed, which I expect they will, this would be Oregon's first non-conference quad 1 win since Michigan in 2019. That's a long time. Normally, this level of basketball for Dana Altman teams is reserved for the end of the season. And we've all become okay with that because Dana's had a lot of success. He's never lost a first-round tournament game in March Madness. He has been there when he has to win the conference tournament in order to get there twice in the last 5 years. There have been some late season heroics. It would be a lot easier for Oregon and give them a better path to make a deep run in March Madness if they didn't have a bunch of early season stumbles. So they found a way to win against Portland, they found a way to win against Oregon State, and they found a way to win here against Texas A&M. And I said going into this game, I was fully expecting to lose. Why? Because Texas A&M's a good team, and Oregon didn't look like they were clicking yet. And in the first half, you saw a lot of the same problems. They're struggling on the glass, and they're not hitting as many threes as they should. And then in the second half, the defense cranked it up a notch. They held Texas A&M without a field goal for the final 4 minutes, and I think about 4.5 minutes of the game. That is peak Dana Altman. The defensive adjustments in the second half led to offensive runouts. And Oregon got a bunch of easy lay-ins because they forced turnovers and they pulled their heads out of their rear ends in transition. Because in the first half, they looked like sixth graders who had never run a fast break before. They were throwing bad passes, missing lay-ins, running a guy down for a charge by Brandon Angel. I don't even know what to make of that because Angel's such a smart, heady player. And he was great. 16 points, 5-6 shooting. Classic Brandon Angel game. Not a high-volume score, but a highly efficient one. I thought that this game was a turning point in the early portion of the season. And it's just another win. They might lose to San Diego State. They might beat San Diego State. I don't know. But as long as they come out of Vegas with 2 wins and 1 loss, it's a successful trip because that is a non-conference resume boosting win. But perhaps more importantly, we're seeing this team start to come together. And like all Dana Altman teams, it starts at the defensive end. The defensive capability of this squad is so high because they have length and they have athleticism. Jackson Shellstad is not a big guy, but he has got a burst like no other. He gets compared to Peyton Pritchard a lot. There are a lot of similarities. One distinct dissimilarity is Shellstad is fast and athletic. Pritchard really isn't. He's not. Pritchard's smart and crafty. Shellstad is fast. So he can jump into passing lanes. He can get out in transition and just run away from everybody. That's why he's going to make it into the NBA. Pritchard made it there because he's got limitless range and he's just a really smart, good basketball player. But Shellstad has got far more physical gifts. And then you have a front court rotation. And this is what I loved most from a detailed sicko standpoint about this game. You had this rotation of Brandon Angel, who starts, Nate Biddle, who also starts, and KJ Evans. Dana Altman's still trying to figure out, or at least coming into this game, he was still trying to figure out who can play where and how these guys can play together. And it became clear early on, or I think it's become clear at this point, you can't play all 3 of those guys at the same time. You'd like to. That's what I thought before the year. But in watching Brandon Angel play more closely, he's definitely more power forward than a small forward. And he's someone who does a lot of things around the basket, and you don't want to just stick KJ Evans on the perimeter because he hasn't improved his 3-point shot. Or at least he's not hitting them at a high clip right now. But Evans, defensively, I think is better than Angel. And Angel has got more offensively than Evans. And Biddle can bring it at both ends of the floor. But the way that Dana Altman rotated those 3 bigs and played them in every combination, sometimes it was Biddle Angel, sometimes it was Biddle Evans, sometimes it was Evans Angel. No matter which combo of bigs were on the floor, the way that Oregon played, it all made sense. It all made sense. Evans defensively is so awesome. So you can take Biddle out and say, let's go a little smaller. Just a tad. Biddle's 7 feet tall. Angel and Evans are both 6'8", 6'9". We can go a little bit smaller and have those be our bigs because Evans is our defensive stopper. Now I can take Biddle out of the game. And Nate Biddle wasn't having as big of an impact. Texas A&M, a very athletic team, they were doing a good job of packing it in defensively and not letting Oregon get post-ups like they did against Oregon State. And Biddle was just going to work. Well, they took that away. It wasn't there. And so Dana's counter sometimes was, okay, let's put 2, a little bit more mobile bigs on the floor in Evans and Angel. Let's run some more pick and rolls to get our bigs looks down low rather than just straight post-ups. But most importantly, let's lock in at the defensive end. And Jamari Phillips, a freshman, he hit a 3 in the first half when Oregon couldn't hit a 3 besides anyone besides Bam Tracy. I literally don't trust to shoot a 3 right now. That includes Shellstad. I don't trust a single Oregon player to shoot a 3 that isn't named Bam Tracy. That needs to change because there are a lot of open looks and they're not going down consistent. I trust Keyshawn Barthelemy too. Barthelemy as well. His playmaking off the bench is great. But the substitutions, the rotations in this game, this was a Dana Altman clinic, and this was a really good win. This was a really good win that helps your resume, got to help the confidence of the locker room as well. And by the way, I mentioned all those bigs who were in that rotation because Supreme Cook had 4 fouls. Sometimes they put those guys, it's Cook and Evans out there, then it's Angel and Biddle. Like, I think Dana Altman has got a healthy team, and he's tinkering with things. But it's working out. It's not, they'll figure it out. They've got 1 or 2 losses already, but they will be okay. They're still undefeated. Of course, they're going to lose eventually. They'll probably have tough stretches throughout the year because the Big Ten is hard. But I was bullish on this team coming into the year and said with full confidence, I give them an 80%. I give them 80% confidence level of capable of going to the Final Four or winning a national championship as what I give football. And I saw that. I saw that against Texas A&M. And that's what's so encouraging. If Dana gets the rotations down, figures out how to mix and match the way he did against Texas A&M, that team can win the Big Ten. Absolutely. They could also finish 5th in the Big Ten. But most importantly, they got a big win. Big win. Great day. So good vibes are rolling right now. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.